Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno as we get to know a little more about the fearless, rebellious and the extraordinary life of Alexander McQueen as we attend the UK premiere of McQueen. A brave night for you tonight, and Lee was a very brave person, particularly with his designs and the sort of autobiographicalness of his designs, wasn't he?
He was very brave. As my brother, I thought he was one of the bravest people out there because he didn't mind to put things out there perhaps that other people wouldn't in the fashion world.
When you look at Lee's work, he is very autobiographical, you see, so what you're seeing on the catwalk are his dreams and his nightmares. Yeah. And Lee was also a master of the human psyche, so he knew how to dig deep into people's emotions and bring those out of them, so he knew how to have that contrast of horror and beauty. And having those two together, you really get true beauty come through that, you see.
When you were invited to be a part of the documentary, were you both reticent at all? Because obviously you want Lee to be represented in the right way.
Yes, certainly I was. It didn't happen overnight. I met a couple of times and I was emailed, but after meeting Ian and Peter, they're very nice people, and I also felt a responsibility as well to my brother that, you know, this should be done in the right way. And after meeting Ian and Peter, they're very nice people, and they assured me they was going to do a good job, and I think they did. They did brilliant.
You worked with Lee, so you were a family member as well as a colleague, so I would imagine you saw both sides of it.
Yeah, I've got the early memories from Lee where he used to babysit us as well. So he used to be a really good babysitter, not. And then I had the later years, up until his passing, I worked with him at McQueen, so I'm very grateful for that as well, you know. And Lee gave me a new direction in my life, which I'd never considered, which is textile design. And that's something I've taken forward for myself now and build myself as a man and a person and a brand, you see. So
watching the film, there's a real simplicity in the aesthetic, and I wondered whether that allowed you then to be able to accentuate the kind of drama of Lee's life and his work.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, there was a very simple thing that Lee said a lot, which was, if you want to know me, look at my work. And he says it in the film, in fact. And we decided to take him at his word and to kind of come up with a structure that was quite simple and that would really allow us to take, because the simpler the structure is, the clearer the emotional journey that you can take your audience on is. So that was very much what we were sort of going for. And then around that simple line, you can weave so many different visual archive elements. So the simpler you can be in your basic storyline, the richer you can actually make the storytelling.
There are still few, just to say, I think, there's a few of the show and the chapters, so tape we're using, that allowed us to do some flashback. So we were still not fully linear, and I think there's still a little bit of futuricry. But as Peter said, I think we really wanted the emotional journey to be first and foremost. So the audience being completely involved within the movie and feeling part of the film helped us, navigating through time periods and different, periods of London, periods of Lee's life, etc., etc.
And was it surprising to you when you first embarked on making this film just how autobiographical really Alexander McQueen's work was?
We find that out quite quickly, and that was the base of the structure of the script and the storytelling we wanted to use. We did use a lot of Lee's aesthetic within all of the graphic or 3D skull elements that we did. So we always try to refer back to Lee. Even with the music, Michael Nyman worked with Lee a lot, and Lee loved his music. So we try to have every element of the film make sense and circle back to Lee somehow.
Yeah, I mean, there are some shows, for example, Highland Rape, that are incredible. You can see the autobiographical element, or you can explore it very easily. There are other shows that took us a little bit more time because we sort of knew that there was something in there, but we had to kind of like really work hard to kind of tease it out. What is the meaning of this show in Lee's life? He didn't speak so much later on in his career. There aren't so many interviews where he says, this is what I'm trying to reflect. So, we as filmmakers had to work harder to kind of figure out what shows would help us to tell the story.
Beautiful documentary as well. How did you become involved in it?
Some friends of mine produced a film called Churchill with Brian Cox that was amazing, and I'd been up on set in Glasgow and was talking to them, and then they mentioned that they just announced the launch of this movie, and I have worked in fashion for a long time, and I know everybody who was in Alexander McQueen's life, and I never knew him, and I've never pretended to know him, and sadly I didn't meet him, but I weirdly have been friends with so many people, Izzy Blow, Philip Tracy, Detmar. So I had a talk with them and said, listen, this is something that I'm so passionate about. Can we sit down and I could just discuss how I could contribute to the film? I was so passionate. And we all sat down and it became really clear that we all got on so well. And Ian and Peter are just the nicest, loveliest guys, and we all really got on really well. So I said, yes, please, I'll take the job.
I think what's very important about this film is that it isn't just about what Alexander McQueen delivered as an artist, but we really get to see who Lee was, don't we?
You know, it's also really interesting that you say that, because I think that even though a lot of people work in fashion think they knew Alexander Lee McQueen, actually he was quite private. And the film does, especially with Janet, his sister speaking, and his nephew Gary, which is really amazing that they open up in the movie. You do actually learn more about the man and not just the clothes or just the designer. And I'm wearing Alexander McQueen vintage now, which I was a collector before. So it's really nice to kind of bring all my dresses out and actually wear them in his honour as well and feel a bit more that I know more about him.
Alexander McQueen, what for him was there unique about him as an artist?
Who do I think it was?
No, what made him? Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think I got it. I wasn't part of his first inner circle, but I had the pleasure of work with him, directly and indirectly for a few years. So I got to know the person behind the image and whatever we thought, and he was amazing. He had some flaws, like we all do, but it was amazing.
And with regards to his work, what made him so unique, as opposed to say somebody like Vivienne Westwood?
Well, I think he was unique because he was. I mean, he was very honest. He was doing what he had inside. He was designing what he felt he should design, and every moment of his career shows you who he actually was in his life at the moment. So he was very, very honest, and I think even today the people that succeed are the ones that don't try to be someone else.
That's true. And when you were asked to take part in the documentary, what were your initial reactions? Were you keen or reticent?
Both. Both, because you never know what people do, what you say about Lee. I didn't have anything bad to say, but I didn't know what was coming out of it, and when I saw it the first time I was very nervous, but I must say it's incredible.
They have paid for a tribute, haven't they?
Yes, but correct one, and they took our words, I mean at least mine, and put them in the right context, so yeah, all fine.
Watching the film, I got the feeling that Lee was very much a collaborator and enjoyed working as a team and working around the people he trusted the most. Was that your experience?
Yes. In the beginning I could see that Lee didn't really trust that many people. I mean, in fashion you don't really trust that many people. So he wanted to create this like little small family that he could really trust, and he got it, and that's what it was in the beginning. It was a really tight family, all working for the same purpose, to fulfill Lee's dreams, and that's what I really remember from those early days.
And it isn't really that long since Lee departed, so when you were asked to be involved in a documentary, was that a difficult decision for you to make, to be a part of that?
A little bit, yes. It took me a while to make a decision, because I think I'm going to be like his ambassador for the rest of my life, and I just really want to take care of him, even if he's not here. I kind of like I want to protect his image, his legacy, and because from previous things that have been published in the past, I didn't want this movie or whatever movie to fall in the same thing. So it took me a little bit for me to make a decision.